All right, we are rolling. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia, and today we are going to talk about modal verbs in the past. I'm going to cover in this week's lesson one modal verb. I'm going to talk about should have and shouldn't have, and I'm going to talk a little bit about pronunciation tips for this grammar point. We are rolling. Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Please make sure to send a message in the chat so that we can see you and say hello to you. And also, please make sure to like and share the lesson so that other people can find it and join in. So while we wait for other people to join today's lesson, as always, a couple of quick announcements. First announcement for today will be about this banner right here. We haven't talked about this in a while, but as always, especially good if you are a beginner, we have a lot of free PDFs that you can download to practice your English. So you can choose, I'll show you one now, you can choose based on like your hobby. For example, singing, or this is about music actually, singing, or maybe words for like emergencies. You can choose from a topic that you're interested in, food maybe as well. There might be some background sound today. There's a little bit of construction in my neighborhood. I'm broadcasting from home. These are downloadable PDFs that you can choose like a topic you need to focus on right now and study those vocabulary words. So you can get these. There are a lot of them. I'll show you some more later. You can get these from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you are watching on Facebook. You need an account, but the account is free. That is announcement number one. Announcement number two is if you have questions about today's lesson, if you have questions that are maybe like really big questions, or if you have questions about something different than today's topic, please send them for this series, the weekly Q&A series called Ask Alicia, where I choose questions that you send me and we talk a bit about them, and I hopefully answer your question. So you can find this link, I'll put a link to this in the YouTube description of this live stream after the live has ended. But you can find other Ask Alicia videos on our YouTube channel as well. Okay, that is it for announcements. I see many people are in the chat now. That is super cool. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Panya Khan on YouTube. Jyoti, hello. Aus, hello. Jorge, hi. Carlos, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Facebook, I'm coming to you this week. Again, as I said, I am broadcasting from my house, so it looks a little bit different. But I have Facebook over here. I'm checking your comments over here, Facebook. So I'm making sure the live stream is running, and then we'll begin today's lesson. Oh, looks good. Hi, Facebook. I see you there. Hi, everybody. Barbara and Vane and Zaya-san. Hello, Vet and Roger. Hi. Thanks very much for joining us. That's super cool. I'm going to share the lesson, boom, and begin. So today is about, as I said, should have and shouldn't have. I'm going to show you today's lesson boards. I'm going to talk about these. This is the flow for today's lesson. First, I'm going to talk about should have. Then I'm going to talk about should not have. And last, I'm going to talk about pronunciation. So this will be the flow for today's lesson. I'll show you this again later so you can take a picture later too. All right, so let's begin. Everything is ready. Let's begin with should have. So we'll go through first with an explanation. Should have. When do we use should have? In blue here. Let's start with this part. Should have is a grammar point we use to express regret about a past action that did not happen. Past action that did not happen. So what is regret? So regret, this is a noun. Regret means sad feelings about something in the past. Yeah? Sad feelings, that's the key here. Or we also use this to think carefully, like to consider carefully our past actions too. Okay, so On a timeline, we can imagine it looks kind of like this. So here's my timeline. If this star is now, back here's the past, future this way. When we use should have, it's because we are sad, my little sad face, we are sad about an action in the past that did not happen. It did not happen. So yes, this is like positive, should have, but it's something that did not happen. Also, I have this star here. It's hard to see. It's really small because it's not a focus point for today. But we also use this grammar point to talk about expected past actions or expected past conditions. I'm not going to focus on this today. Maybe I can make another lesson in the future about this use. I have a couple example sentences about this. Today we're going to focus on using this grammar to express regret. Okay, so let's look at how we make statements with this grammar. So statement is not a question. So how do we make statements with should have? To make a statement, we use subject. So our subject is usually like I or you or we or he or she, they, and so on. Plus should have plus the past participle form of a verb. So the past participle form of a verb is something we have to study. So today we're going to practice some very common past participle verb forms in our example sentences. Okay, so let's look at some examples and talk about what these sentences are saying. Okay, so first, I should have studied for the test. This is a very common one. I should have studied for the test. What is happening here? So my subject is I. Should have is expressing regret. Yeah? I should have studied is the past participle form of the verb study. And then finally, for the test. So this will change, of course, depending on the situation. So what does this sentence mean? It means I did not study for the test, and now I'm sad. I did not study for the test, and now I'm sad. I wish my past action had been different. Yeah? That's what should have studied expresses. We're expressing that regret, that sad feeling. Okay, let's look at another example of this. This one. You should have called me. You should have called me. So call, of course, in this case, refers to phone calls. Yeah, so this is probably, I suppose in most cases, we use this sentence for phone calls. But I guess there are maybe a couple situations where you might mean like calling across a room for someone. In most cases, this is probably for phone calls. So you should have called me means you did not call me. And now I am sad. You should have called me expresses this feeling. Okay. Next one. She should have given us the information. She should have given us the information. So again, we have this subject, she, plus should have, plus our past participle verb. So give becomes given. She should have given us the information. So what does this mean? This means she did not give us the information. Now we are sad. So all of these are expressing some past action did not happen, and now we are not happy, or there's some not good results in the present. Okay, I have one more sentence here I want to mention, just maybe for learners interested in this point I talked about earlier. Well, I won't cover it. It's not today's key point, but just to refresh your memory or introduce you to this. This is what I mean by an expected past action or condition. So he should have arrived at the office by now. He should have arrived at the office by now. This expresses a past, it's like an expectation that something happened in the past, and usually it affects the present. So there is this type of use. It follows the same grammar pattern, yes, but it does not express regret. We're using it to talk about like some expectation we have. So I'm not going to focus on this use today. Today I'm focusing on regret, but maybe I can do some other lessons in the future. Yes, sorry, there are some construction sounds outside my house today. Sorry about the background noise. I can't do anything about it today, unfortunately. I apologize for the issue. Hopefully the microphone helps, but they are very near me. Okay. Let's go to then the last part of this board, questions. So questions, there are two question patterns I want to introduce. They're both right here. I have this WHQ. So WHQ means a WH question, like who or what or where or when or why. So we use this before this part to make an information question. So WH question plus should plus our subject plus have and the past participle form of a verb. So please note, when you make a question, the should and the have become separate, yeah? When you make a statement, the should and the have are together. So sometimes I hear people ask like, what should have I done? Or like, what you should have done. So please make sure when you make your question, your should and your have are separated, yeah? So let's look at some examples. Some very common examples that you can use and that you can probably hear a lot too. So what should I have done? What should I have done? This is a very, very good question to know if you make a mistake with something. So you make a mistake and you want to ask like a coworker, maybe your boss, like, okay, I know I made a mistake. What do you think in the past I should have done? So I made a mistake. It's like saying, for next time, what should I do? But you're asking about the past instead. So what should I have done expresses that. Okay. Then, where should we have gone? Where should we have gone? So again, this expresses that there was some past mistake. So we went to the wrong place. So we want to know in the future, it's like saying, where should I go in the future? Or saying, what was the place I was supposed to go? We express that with this. One more, you can use how with these questions too. I know I have WH, but how questions are also okay. So how should I have prepared that report? How should I have prepared that report? So again, it's like I made a mistake and I thought in the past, I thought I was correct, but there was some problem. Now things are not good. So I want to ask, what was the report supposed to look like? What was the report supposed to look like? How should I have prepared that report? Okay, so the last thing I want to mention today are yes and no questions, because these I think are really, really common and helpful. So you'll notice here, I've got ... in front of these. That's because you'll often hear these types of questions asked kind of in like a shy voice, or kind of like a little bit embarrassed. So you'll notice too that there's no WH question here. So to make these, just remove the WH, yeah? So first one here is, should I have come to the office today? Should I have come to the office today? This is a yes or no question. To be very clear, you should say, yes, you should have come to the office today, or no, it's okay. What is this question asking? Should I have come to the office today? This question is saying, oh, I did not come to the office today. Was that bad? That's what this is saying. The way this question is made sounds like the speaker is worried. Like, uh-oh, was it my responsibility to come to the office today? So you can use this pattern to make those confirmation questions, and that's why it starts with like this ... It's like, uh-oh, that kind of feeling. So one more. This one is a kind of advice or a criticism, actually. No, the subject here is you. Should you have eaten so much junk food? Should you have eaten so much junk food? So that means you ate a lot of junk food. Are you sure that was a good idea? That's what this sentence is saying. Should you have eaten so much junk food? Like, maybe after a party or something, your friend might say this to you. I don't know, your mom or your dad. So, should you have eaten so much junk food? So this is how we use should have. Should have. So positive expressions. Should have. Statements and questions. Okay, I will look at the chat now. Some examples are coming in. David on YouTube says, what I should have studied English when I was a teenager. Maybe what English lessons should I have studied when I was a teenager? So, or what? I'm not quite sure what the question is asking there. Wow, there are a lot of questions coming in now. Cirrus says, should I have shared my life with you? Okay, interesting. That means you did not, and you're questioning it. Kanwaljit, hi, says, should you have gone to the party? Okay, good. Are you on Insta? Yes, check the link in the description after the video. Should we have gone outside, Ming? Should we have gone outside? So please make sure to use the past participle form of the verb after have. Should we have gone outside? Yeah, for those that are just joining today, there's some construction sound in the background. Sorry about that. I cannot change it. They're very close to me. Okay, on Facebook, I'm coming for you now. Facebook. Is it okay if I show an advice or suggestion? Yeah, please feel free to send me your comments. I can't check everything. I have Facebook and YouTube to check at the same time as I teach, but I will try to do that. Mao on YouTube says, should I have joined the live stream last week? Very nice, very nice. Good, okay. Embark on Facebook says, I should have started learning English when I was 5 years old. Perfect. Very nice examples. Very nice examples. David, what I should have studied English lessons when I was a teenager. So make sure when you make your WH questions, what should I have studied when I was a teenager? So try to follow this pattern when you make your question. What should I have studied? So if you want to be specific, you can say, what lessons should I have studied when I was a teenager? So we use lessons together with the question, what lesson or what place? So that's, put your question with that specific point together. Okay, I have to go on to part 2 of today's lesson. If you are just joining, today's topic is should have and shouldn't have. I will show you the lesson title again. Ta-da! So today we're talking about modal verbs in the past with should have and shouldn't have, and I'm going to finish today's lesson with pronunciation tips. Hooray! Okay. If you are just joining, also please make sure to like and share the video so that other learners can find today's lesson. If you hit the thumbs up button, it will help other people find it. Okay, also if you missed it earlier, this week there are free things for you to download. Look at them all. Oh my gosh, I can't show you all of them. Free vocabulary and expression PDFs that you can download. So you can choose a topic that you are interested in, or choose a topic you need to practice. It'd be good for many people staying home right now. So you can choose one of these. Here's one for cooking. I have been doing a lot of that recently. You can choose one of these or all of them. They are all free. You can find these from the link below the video if you are watching on YouTube, or above the video if you are watching on Facebook. You need an account at EnglishClass101.com. It is free, so please check it out. All right, let's go to part 2 for today. I will show you today's lesson boards again so you can see. We have just finished should have. Next, we are going to talk about should not have. Should not have. Last will be pronunciation today. Okay, let's move on to should not have. The negative, the negative. All right, so when do we use should not have? Where did my marker go? Okay, so when do we use should not have? So again, we use should not have to express regret. This is a very common use of this grammar point, but different from should have, which we just practiced. We use should not have to express regret about an actual past action. So that means something that really happened and we are sad about. This is the difference. So to compare, in case you missed it or you forgot, should have is about an action that did not happen. Should not have is about an action that happened. Something happened and we are sad about it. So that's regret. We're expressing regret about that. Again, we do also use should not have to talk about expected past actions or conditions, but I'm not going to talk about this as the focus today. I'll share one example sentence, but today we are focusing on regret. So how do we make should not have statements? Subject plus should not have plus past participle verb. So this is the same as the positive form, yeah? We just use should not. And make sure to sound natural, should and not reduce to make shouldn't. So it is correct to say, I should not have eaten so much food, as in this first example sentence. It will sound much more natural and it will sound much more smooth if you say, I shouldn't have eaten so much food. So please try to use this nt. I shouldn't have eaten. So let's break these sentences down. I shouldn't have eaten so much food. So this means I ate a lot of food in the past. That happened, that's true. And now I am unhappy. So this is a very common expression, yeah? What I want to note a couple things here. You'll notice these examples, well, okay, I'll show you at the end of this part. Let's look at one more. He shouldn't have spent so much money. He shouldn't have spent so much money. So again, he spent a lot of money. That's true, that actually happened. And now he's sad, or we are sad maybe. So, oh, don't restart. Okay, so one more. You shouldn't have worried so much. You shouldn't have worried so much. So that means you worried a lot in the past. That's not good. Don't do that. So this is expressing this thing that did happen. Something happened in the past. Now it's not a good thing. Or don't do that. Okay, so now let's talk about this. Why these all end in so much? What's the deal? What's going on here? It's very, very common to use this so much ending at the end of this. So if we, oh, this is tricky. If we remove so much from these sentences, I shouldn't have eaten food, or he shouldn't have spent money. These sound really, really strange. So why? Because these actions, eating food or spending money, these actions are normal and it's okay. When we include so much, though, it shows we did it too much. It was not good. So much food means I ate food and it was too much. But you cannot use too much in this pattern. I shouldn't have eaten too much food. Incorrect. You can't use that. I shouldn't have eaten so much food. Again, he shouldn't have spent too much money is incorrect. He shouldn't have spent so much money. This one, worried, does not have something at the end here because the verb worried doesn't take like an object. Spend money. You could use time as well here too, or eat food. These verbs take objects, yeah? So we use these at the end. Final point, I put food and money in parentheses. These little bracket things, these little curves, these are called parentheses. I put them in parentheses because many native speakers do not say them, because we already understand from the situation the object. So I shouldn't have eaten so much is very clear. We understand the object is food. It's not like paper. I don't know. So I shouldn't have eaten so much is very normal and very natural. You can remove food here. Or he shouldn't have spent so much is very, very clear usually. He shouldn't have spent so much what? Like spend money or time. Usually from the situation we understand. Okay, some examples are coming in. Yes, many people are saying I shouldn't have spent so much. I shouldn't have watched so much TV. So again, too much is not correct. Too much is not correct. Some of you are sending me too much sentences. I shouldn't have eaten so much. I shouldn't have eaten so much. Okay, other examples. I should not have drunk so much beer, Rolfie on YouTube. So negative, I should not have drunk so much beer. Yeah, I shouldn't have drunk so much last night. It's maybe a very common one for some people. I shouldn't, Siang, I hope I said your name right on Facebook. I shouldn't have eaten dinner so much. So very close. Just swap, so switch so much and dinner. I shouldn't have eaten so much dinner, or I shouldn't have eaten so much food at dinner. So put so much before the object there. Okay. What's the difference between should have and must have? It's a totally different grammar point than today. I have a video about it on the channel, I believe. I'll put a link in the description. So please check that after the lesson on YouTube. Okay. Oh my gosh, it is 28 minutes after the hour. That is a lot. I haven't even talked about questions yet. Oh my gosh, we have to go. Okay. Last point here is about this. Expected past actions and conditions. So again, not today's focus, but just for your information, how we make a sentence with this meaning is like this. Same pattern. She shouldn't have arrived until 3 p.m. This expresses an expectation relating to some past information. So yes, for learners who know about this use of should have, this does exist, but I'm not going to talk about it today. Okay, let's go to questions real quick because time's going fast. So, questions. I have this note here. This is important. So, a key point for today. Negative questions are less common than positive questions. So what I mean is at the beginning of this lesson, we talked about using should have to make questions. Like, what should I have done? Or where should I have gone? It's not very common to use the negative to make questions, except confirmation questions. Confirmation means like checking questions, yes or no. So let's quickly take a look. One of our members, hello, Diogenes. Hello, say hello to Brazil. Hello, Brazil. Our Brazilian friends are one of our members from Brazil has just joined. Question. So this is how it might look if you make a negative question. What shouldn't I have done? So it follows the same pattern as the positive one. Yeah, WH question, should not. So your not is connected to should here. Plus subject, have, past participle verb. So what shouldn't I have done is saying I did something in the past and it was wrong. Now you are unhappy with me, or the situation is not good. So what's the thing I should not do? So you're asking about something not to do. But this is not a very common question. I suppose you might hear it in some situation, but it's not that common. Instead, as I said, we use the positive forms. Instead, these are much more common, these confirmation questions. So to make these, we just remove the WH question at the beginning of the sentence. For example, shouldn't you have left for the airport? Shouldn't you have left for the airport? So this is saying you have not, like you are here, you are supposed to go to the airport. There's a plan to go to the airport, but you have not left. You have not left. Shouldn't you have left for the airport? So it's saying there's this thing, I thought I expected it, but it hasn't happened yet. That's what this is expressing. Another one. Shouldn't we have received a message from our client by now? Shouldn't we have received a message from our client by now? So again, shouldn't is should not. It's like, I expected this action, but it hasn't happened yet. That's what this question pattern, that's the feeling that this question pattern is communicating. And final one, shouldn't the mechanic have fixed the car? So here, my subject, the mechanic. So mechanic is the person who fixes machines, so vehicles, cars, trucks, and so on. Shouldn't the mechanic have fixed the car? So I expected this past action to be true, but it's not true. So I ask a question like this. Okay, all right. I have to finish that point. Abdallah on YouTube says, shouldn't you have changed your teaching schedule? Yes, very nice, very nice. Okay, time is going quick, so I will go to the last part. The last part of today's lesson is about pronunciation. Hooray! Everybody loves to practice pronunciation, right? So we'll go to pronunciation of these two things. Please note, I want to begin this part by saying these are not spelling tips. So I'm going to show you some pronunciation points and use some different spellings to explain them. Please don't spell with these things. They're just to help you with your pronunciation practice. So first, should have. Should have reduces, so reduces means it becomes shorter to should've, should've, or shoulda. Should've or shoulda. I hope you guys can all hear me. There's a bit of noise right now. Should've or shoulda. Okay, so either is fine. Either is fine. It just depends on how quickly the person is speaking. So what does this sound like in a sentence? Let's look at our previous examples. Of course. Okay, let's look at our previous examples. I should have studied for the test. I should have studied for the test. So in very clear pronunciation, I should have studied for the test. With this native pronunciation, sounds like I should have studied for the test. Or with this one, I should have studied for the test. I should have studied for the test. So these parts should and have come together to make should've and shoulda. One more, you should have called me. You should have called me. So you should have called me. Or if I'm really angry at someone, you should have called me. So this gets very, very short. You should have called me. So please make should've or shoulda from should have. This sounds very natural. Yes, there are some construction sound effects in the background. Okay, but another point, and this is something native speakers make mistakes with. In questions, there is also a reduction of sound. So, what should I have done? What should I have done? Or, should I have come to the office? What should I have done? Or, should I have come to the office? Native speakers reduce this have to an of sound. So this is so common that many native speakers think this have is really of. It is not of. So if you see, like I see all the time, native speakers, they write on like social media, I should have done something. It is not correct. It's totally not correct. But that's because this is a very, very common, like everybody pronounces have as of. What should I have done sounds like, what should I have done? Or should I have come to the office? So this of. Okay, last point then is about pronunciation of should not have. Should not have. This looks really, really weird, I know, right? Shouldn't have. Shouldn't have. Shouldn't have. Shouldn't have. Or, even more natural, shouldna. Shouldna. So, in these example sentences from earlier, I shouldn't have eaten so much, or he shouldn't have spent so much. I shouldn't have eaten so much, or he shouldn't have spent so much. So shouldn't. I shouldn't have eaten so much, or I shouldn't have eaten so much. Both are totally correct. They both sound totally normal. In this case, there's not a difference. There's not a difference in formality. They both sound very natural, actually. You can use these in polite conversations too. Shouldn't. Shouldn't. So again, not a spelling point. Please do not spell it like this. Please spell it shouldn't have. Do not use this spelling, but I hope this helps you with pronunciation. Lastly, in question, same point as with here. The have sounds like of. Shouldn't you have left, or shouldn't we have received a message? This becomes an of sound. Shouldn't you have left for the airport? Or shouldn't we have received a message? Of here. So again, do not write of. Please write have. Okay. Wow, that was a lot. And now, of course, the sound stopped. Anyway, that is it for today's lesson. I will show today's lesson boards again one more time so you can take a picture. Hooray! So this was today's topic, should have, shouldn't have, and some pronunciation points. I hope that this was helpful for you. So this, as I said, I'm going to take away the boards now. This was one, like the first one in like a modal verbs in the past series I'm going to do. I will do another one. I think I have it scheduled for next month. I will do that. So please join again next time. Next lesson, I'll be back again next week, but on next lesson, June 17th, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that is Wednesday, New York City time. I'm going to talk about vocabulary study strategies in next week's lesson. So many of you asked me, like especially on Instagram and in your comments, how do I remember new vocabulary? How do I gain new vocabulary? What should I do? So we're going to talk about that. Oh, in the meantime, you could definitely work on some vocabulary. You can pick up a few of these to work on your vocabulary. I showed this earlier. These are free PDFs to download. So I hope that that is helpful for you. Join me again next week for that. It will be a fun time, as always. So I'll end there. I hope that that was helpful for you. If you have questions or comments, please let me know. I will review. Also, please check the YouTube version of this video. I'm going to put some links in the description for those of you who asked, so please give me a few minutes to update that, and I'll give you some more resources to help you with your studies. So thank you as always for joining me and joining our remote team. Thank you very much for liking and sharing this video, and I hope that you are safe and well and enjoy the rest of your week. I will see you again next time.